KSL News starts now.
He is a hero around the world. If anybody can beat this, John McCain's the man.
This morning, grief and support pour in after Senator John McCain's brain cancer diagnosis.
And the opioid crisis reaching a whole new level of danger. How simply walking down the street could put all of us at risk.
And more concerns over those fidget spinners. The new warning from officials if you have one of these popular toys in your home. But first, here's Dan Guthrie with a look at your Thursday morning forecast.
And guys, once again, we're going to be dealing with the potential for flash flooding with how much water is in the air. When we get these thunderstorms in the afternoons and evenings, we can see those totals stack up fairly quickly. In fact, here's what's left over really for the entire state of Utah. But even this, around 3:30 this morning, still had a flash flood warning because of the heavy rain coming with it. Things quieting down there. A couple of showers we're trying to get going over just south of Wendover earlier, but quiet there. And really, big picture-wise, just cloud cover kind of filling in on the map. Temperatures warm this morning. More flash flood potential for us this afternoon. We'll talk about that coming up here in just a few minutes. But let's check in with Andy Farnsworth with a look at your traffic.
Good morning. A very nice start for drivers heading through Salt Lake and Utah counties, especially on I-15. This is a live look in Draper. Heading from Draper to downtown, you'll be able to do it in less than 20 minutes right now as conditions are just fine. Davis County, unfortunately, has a lane restriction as they continue repaving between Kaysville and Layton. You can see here only the HOV and fast lanes open northbound as you go through Kaysville. There is some slowing, but again, the traffic volume is not heavy enough to where there's a huge backup. But just be aware it's coming.
John McCain can dominate any meeting that he attends, and I've been to war zones with him. He is a hero around the world.
We just ask everybody to keep this real American hero in their prayers.
Well, good morning to you. If you are just joining us this morning, new overnight, overwhelming support from peers of Senator John McCain after the announcement that he has been diagnosed with brain cancer. Senator McCain spoke to senators by phone last night during a meeting they held in the nation's capital. And one of those senators, Republican Lindsey Graham from South Carolina, listen to his comments.
Talked to John. Said, yeah, I'm going to have to stay here a little bit longer, take some treatments, and I'll be back. God knows how this ends, not me. But I do know this. This disease has never had a more worthy opponent.
A lot of folks in Washington saying that this morning, that John McCain is a tough guy that is going to take this on. Of course, this is after a statement announcing the Arizona senator's diagnosis. Andrew.
Tough developments there in Washington. Meantime, Senator McCain underwent surgery earlier this week to remove a blood clot in Phoenix. Lab results from that surgery confirmed the diagnosis.
And NBC's Sarah Dolph joins us live with more on his prognosis. Good morning to you, Sarah.
Well, good morning, Andrew and Lori. According to doctors at the Mayo Clinic, Senator John McCain has been diagnosed with glioblastoma. It's an aggressive type of brain tumor. In fact, it's the same type that Senator Ted Kennedy was struck with in 2008. Now, according to the doctors who performed McCain's surgery to remove that blood clot, he is recovering remarkably well. They say his overall health is excellent as he begins to consider treatment options for the tumor, which may include chemotherapy and radiation. Meanwhile, we're seeing lawmakers on both sides of the aisle reach out to offer their support. President Donald Trump releasing a statement, sending thoughts and prayers from his family to the McCain family, and former President Barack Obama tweeting out his support, saying John McCain is an American hero and one of the bravest fighters I've ever known. Cancer doesn't know what it's up against. Now, of course, John McCain has faced many difficult trials in his life, perhaps most notable when his Navy aircraft was shot down over North Vietnam and he was imprisoned for 5.5 years in the country. Andrew and Lori, back to you guys.
All right, Sarah Dolph there, former KSL reporter Sarah Dolph, by the way. Good to see you, Sarah. Appreciate the update.
Meanwhile, President Trump released a statement after that announcement reading, quote, Senator John McCain has always been a fighter. Melania and I send our thoughts and prayers to Senator McCain, Cindy, and their entire family. Get well soon.
In national politics this morning, President Donald Trump's recent interview with the New York Times turning heads this morning. In the 50-minute interview, the president makes several bold statements to the Times. Among them, discontent with a list of key figures in the ongoing investigation into Russia's possible meddling in the 2016 election, including Attorney General Jeff Sessions, James Comey, and Robert S. Mueller, the special counsel to the Justice Department's investigation. In a separate bombshell report, the Times also says regulators are now probing hundreds of millions of dollars in loans to Trump from Deutsche Bank.
A new video into our newsroom overnight of severe weather overseas. First, let's start in China, where cars were swept away in flash flooding. In some areas, the rain measured more than 3 feet deep. This morning, some areas are on orange alert. That's the second highest in China's 4-tier warning system. And now let's go to England, where major flash flooding hit the coastal village of Cornwall. Here's some chopper video of a helicopter rescue of an elderly couple trapped in high floodwaters. They're okay this morning, but crews are still cleaning up some of the devastating damage that has been left behind. Andrew?
All right, Shara, thanks for that update. Meantime, back here at home, dealing with our own flooding concerns here in Utah, as our neighbors in Utah County have some cleaning up to do this morning after a fast and wild storm dropped rain on Salem, flooding dozens of homes. The High Line and Salem canals in the southeastern part of the town, they were overwhelmed by that heavy rainfall. In just a matter of moments, water poured into the streets and basements, flooding roughly 100 homes.
It's like a big mud river that came through.
It was just insane. I've never seen anything like it.
We like to call it the 100-year storm.
Neighbors say they're grateful to each other for helping out after an ordeal like this.
6:05 right now. A good reminder this morning to protect yourself from mosquito bites. The Salt Lake County Health Department has now announced the West Nile virus has been found in Salt Lake County mosquitoes. Health officials say minimize your exposure during the day by using EPA-registered repellent. That means make sure your repellent also has DEET in it. It's important to keep your roof, gutters, pools, ponds all clean, because mosquitoes love standing water.
We don't know where he got it. I believe this may be the youngest victim of this scourge.
Oh, it's so tragic, the death of this 10-year-old boy in Florida who possibly died from an interaction with fentanyl. There comes a new warning in the opioid crisis, and that warning isn't just for drug users, but for all of us, anyone simply walking down the street. Joining us live this morning to explain the dangers of this is news specialist Caitlin Burchell. And Caitlin, this boy's death takes this to a whole new level.
Yeah, absolutely, Lori. It really does. The message here to everybody from drug agents across the nation: be careful what you touch. It could be anything from a cigarette butt on the ground to a needle your kids maybe spot on a summer day walking through a park. Watch what they're touching and be careful with what you're touching, too. And if you do think you come into contact with fentanyl or a drug substance like that, don't use hand sanitizer. Drug agents we spoke to say this will actually speed up absorption. Rather, just wash your hands with soap and water and immediately call 911. And what we've seen covering drug busts throughout our state, this happens in the sweetest looking communities, unexpected areas, suburb areas where these pill presses, synthetic pill presses are being created. And we see hazmat crews working to clear up these drug busts and do, see what is inside these homes, covered in outfits so they don't get contaminated by this fatal substance, which we're seeing can only just a small touch can really be deadly. And we saw this really made national attention when an Ohio police officer recently overdosed after responding to a drug bust. And now, sadly, a 10-year-old Miami boy, just a 5th grader, perhaps touched a towel. Officials aren't sure with something on it.
Just a kid being a kid, going about their day, and they literally become victimized, victimized by this plague.
This is a greed-driven, a profit-driven enterprise, and it's become an epidemic that's now, like Lori, you mentioned, not just affecting drug users, but really just young kids just in the community. So be careful. Back to you.
All right, Caitlin Burchell live in Salt Lake City for us. And yeah, just a warning to your children out there. Be careful what you touch. Coming up next, O.J. Simpson just hours away from learning his future after being behind bars for 8.5 years.
And a new crackdown on driving under the influence of electronics. Which state is getting serious about texting behind the wheel?
And your fidget spinner could burst into flames. That's a warning today after multiple reports of the toy sparking flames. But does that mean that you have to get rid of it completely? Well, we'll tell you next.
And guys, we're going to talk once again about the potential for not just scattered showers and thunderstorms, but we could be looking at flash flooding once again. This morning, things are staying on the quiet side. A warm start, temperatures in the 70s in many locations, and overall a cooler day or even an average day. But we'll have scattered showers and thunderstorms moving in. With that, the flash flood watch has been issued for central and southern Utah because of the rain totals that will be possible in a short amount of time. We'll detail what that means coming up.